There you are. Well, I guess we're live, huh? Is that the case here? What's happening? We're starting before we get to the patio. You know, for those of you who may have joined me, we got some people joining me now. Hello, how are you? We'll talk soon. You may have seen last week's, and if you haven't, we talked about this. The lone rose. And how it represents resilience, resolve, all that good stuff. But the other good news is since last week, which was also Thursday, I'm getting pricked by these thorns. Look. That's the first new bloom. That's the first new bloom, new rose that all right, Dar's made a, come on, Dar. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. So Dar's making a Patio Stories first appearance. We saw Dice last time. How are we doing, Dar? These mockingbirds around here in the backyard really don't like Dar. Those mockingbirds swoop down. Yeah, now there we go. So, a couple things on the agenda for today. Let's just see who we've got tuning in. Hey, Ann, nice to see you. Johnny, good to see you. We've got we got some few people coming in, but for this segment of Patio Stories, we got breaking news. First of all, I've got some breaking news for sure. But I guess the first thing before I get into my my little wrap here for today is I had to put my cheese and charcuterie in a bag while I was showing you guys the rose, because the cats would otherwise they would be gone. Did you hear? It's National, maybe even International, Chardonnay Day. So to celebrate, oh, there's Dice. Hey, cat. Come here. Come here, we'll open up some Chardonnay. Come here, Dice. Okay, so it's National Chardonnay Day. And you know what that means? I'm not sure. Who invents these things? I mean, what makes today versus, say, last week different than that? Is it just there was a blank spot on the calendar, so we're going to call it Chardonnay Day? You know, there used to be a movement that I was in and out of called ABC in terms of wine. And that was like anything but Chardonnay or Cabernet. But you know what? The Chardonnays of yesteryear have kind of faded. The big, oaky, buttery, over-malolactic Chardonnays. This one here is actually a Napa Chardonnay. It's from Cuisine. It's not an expensive one. It's about, it's a 2017. So if you guys are sitting around doing a little Patio Stories with me, grab a glass and let's toast to the resilient rose and to the new bloom, because remember, we need new life, and with what's going on these days, I think we need a reminder that that's good. So a little cheese. And I put on my glasses. Before I get into the breaking news, I just want to talk about you guys. And whether you're watching this live or you're seeing the replay on YouTube, I want to ask you how you're doing. You know, how is your perspective? I mean, are you feeling sad? Are you feeling gleeful? Are you feeling, angry? Here's Dice. Hi, Dice. Come here. Yeah, you see I have cheese, don't you? Anyway, that's Dice. That's my foster cat. I'm looking for a home for it in California. He and Dar don't really get along, but he's a real lover and sweetheart. But anyway, how are you doing? You know, I know that a lot of us might not be doing good, and it's okay. You know, it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to talk about it. But you know, I think a lot of people that may be more on the angry side are fearful and angry about what they've lost, what's not the way it was. And I ask you to just do something simple for me, and that is to change your perspective and not to look at what you've lost, what's left, what you can't do, but look at what you can find or what you are finding. Because it's not about what we've lost, it's the perspective. It's just a tiny little thing you can do is how are you doing and what are you finding? What are you discovering? I mean, what a perfect opportunity. Don't complain about what you've lost, what you can't do. No. What can you do? Because, complaining is draining. So don't drain. Look at the difference of your perspective if you can just focus a little bit on what you can find rather than what you've lost. Look and see what's right with the world instead of what's wrong with the world. Okay? So anyway, that's my little thing. But here we are. It's a Thursday evening, Southern California. It's gorgeous. There's a couple cats here. It's Chardonnay day. And there is some breaking news. But before I get into the breaking news, I don't, you can't really see it, but I brought my guitar out to the patio. And I'm not going to make this a sing-along. I'm not going to do anything, but all of you there who are watching live, and thank you. It looks like Marge is with us now. Yes, my friend from up in Sacramento. Okay, Sandy from Australia is tuning in. Hi, Sandy. This is awesome. Here we go. We got to do these things. These things are good. It's International Chardonnay Day. Sandy was the first one to alert me to this, so I know she's imbibing right now, although it's probably the next day in Australia, right? So I missed you for Chardonnay Day. So I guess it's like Chardonnay week, maybe. But just before I get into this, oops. I never play with a pick, and I don't know why I decided to do a pick today. Take the pick away. Okay, well, anyway, the tune I was just doing an intro to, improv here, was, of course, Wish You Were Here. And that's, I think, what we all wish in this time is it's if we could all just sit here and drink Chardonnay and play music together and laugh and tell stories, it would be awesome. But we're here. I'm on my patio. I'm alone with a couple cats, a glass of Chardonnay, and you guys live on Patio Stories. This is the third one. So, first of all, breaking news is right here. Okay, you guys know my book, Forks, right? And if you don't, you need to know about it. This is a great gift, especially in time of Corona, because this is a travel book. It's a travel story. It's got photos from 35 different countries, and it's got recipes. It's got recipes from each of 35 countries that I traveled on an around-the-world motorcycle trip for 3 years. And right there, I broke my leg in Bolivia. We talked about that last week on my Bummed in Bolivia segment. So the thing is that this has been out of print for over 6 months. There's been used copies floating around the channel, but this just came in from China. Yeah, from China. So this is a hardcover version, but that's not the breaking news. This is the 4th printing, by the way. So I am so happy that people continue to love this book and buy it. This just warms my heart because I did this book in this way specifically because I knew that the world was meant to be shared in a rich environment, not just in a travelogue. So anyway, this is Forks, the hardcover edition. Okay, so look at this. This has got like a dust jacket, that's what they call that. And then we've got the foil embossing of forks on the inside. Gorgeous book, designed by Michael Paff, my buddy, I love him. Made this thing what it is. But the good news is, I decided, because some people, in these times where, I hate to say that we've got this crazy unemployment and stimulus packages that are being contemplated and executed, but for the first time, Forks now, this is breaking news, guys, Forks is available in a very high quality soft cover. And this is a thick, you can't touch it here, but this is a thick cover and an oversized flap, so it still has that feeling of a great coffee table book. But it's also $20 cheaper than the hardcover. The hardcover is $50. This is $30. And I did this because, some people have resisted purchasing the book in the past because it's not cheap. I know, I get it. It's an expensive to print. Trust me, I know. I gotta do this all myself. It's money out of pocket for me. So Forks is now available. You can get it on Amazon, and it's. But if you want a signed copy and you want one from me, personal mailed, you can go to forksthebook.com and you can hit buy a signed copy right there, and I will sign this personally, shoot it off to you, and I'll even send you a bonus. I'll send you, if you do it from this Instagram live, the train's coming. Love that. I will go ahead and give you a pack of these photo cards. They're like oversized, almost postcards, but they're photo quality cards of some of the signature photos that are in the Forks book. So I didn't want to make Patio Stories a big sales pitch, but I'm just so darn excited that, the warehouse just notified me. Actually, it's been about over a week. I didn't want to talk about it last week because I needed to get them moved into the channel, to my distributor in Chicago, to Amazon, to, all of the various places that need to get this inventoried before I could say that it's really out. So that's Forks now in its fourth printing, including a softcover edition, which is dramatically cheaper, and it's a great Father's Day gift. Think about this. Do you have a brother? Do you have a father, a grandfather, father-in-law? It's not just for a motorcyclist. It's for a great armchair adventure, or somebody who just is dreaming for when we can shed the masks and get back on the plane and explore unknown territories and enjoy that. In fact, Anne, who's on the call right here, she was one of the recipe testers on this book, so she can attest to. They're not funky, they're not weird, they're really actually very good, easy to do. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to cook a recipe from Malawi. Now, my mother, who lives in Marco Island, she shut down there. She, a couple weeks ago, told me she really wanted to make the banana bread recipe from Malawi. And, we were talking about it, and she then sent me a photo of the banana bread baked with the book and the Malawi chapter with the photo of the recipe in there. And it just inspired me to do that. And I posted that on my Facebook if you haven't seen that. But it's so cool. Anyway, that's fourth printing, Forks. Check it out. Shoot me a message if you want one signed, and I'm happy to add a bonus or two, and I'll pay for the shipping. Okay, how's that? I'll pay for the shipping. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, there's two other topics in Patio Stories there. Hey, how you guys doing, by the way? Here, let me put the glasses back on here and see what you're saying. Everybody's talking here. Okay. Oh, Curtis. He says, can I order one and sign it for John Karl? Well, Kurt, Kurt is a buyer of this book and a supporter of my original Kickstarter campaign, and John has a copy, so but he probably doesn't have a softcover copy. So if you really want to do that, we could do that. John's on the call here, I think, unless he dropped off. Let's see. So Kurt is a good friend of mine, lives up in the Paso Robles area, and has an amazing company called Life Elements. They make CBD products and even have repurposed some stuff into sanitation, cleaning, sanitizing products and tinctures and all kinds of lifeelements.com. I'm giving him a shout out because I love their product. They have a honey healing stick that if you don't want the CBD, honey is just a natural ingredient that is, if you have a cut, scrape, or anything, that's amazing. But those CBD sticks, if you got little aches, you got little joint pain, boy, you rub that on there and it's amazing. So that's Life Elements. Kurt, I love you. I love Martha, his wife, and it's great to see you here on Patio Stories. So, at this time, we're starting to see California slowly open up. We're not sure when salons, nail salons, and hair salons, and, I need a haircut here, gyms, massage parlors, those kinds of things are hard to do. So how are we staying fit? How are we getting exercise? Unless you've got a home gym. I used to go to a gym here, EOS Fitness, just a couple miles down the road, but, it's been closed since middle of March. So what do? I was going to share that with you a little bit. First of all, one of the things I bought about a month ago, jump rope. 10 minutes of jump roping is like more than a half an hour of running. So you can get your cardio in less time, and it's a full body workout with a jump rope. And I haven't been able to get, by the way, 10 minutes straight because it's not easy at hard. But, if you do 2 minutes and then, do like a high, intensity training kind of thing, you can come back and get, even 10 minutes. But it's a great workout. The other thing, of course, is resistance bands, or these things. Great workout. This is a long one you can do curls with this. You can do all kinds of things. And then if you want to do some crazy squat, you wrap these around your below your just above your knees, and you can do some side little shuffles. I don't know what the heck you call them, but these things are very good. And I've got a little book. I do all kinds of different things. This is how I'm trying to. And I just got, I didn't have really a workout mat. Are you guys doing your planks? How long can you hold a plank? I want to know. Kurt, can you hold a plank for 2 minutes? So this just came in yesterday. My yoga mat I lent to somebody years ago, and I haven't had one. So this is so I can do some yoga, but not only that, it's just a great, just to do, any kind of work. Do work on your core, do core exercises. And it's very, it doesn't move. It's a high-end one for sure, because I wanted to also use this to have something to dampen my, when I'm doing the jump roping, to minimize the impact, because I do it on hardwood floor here in my house. So this is going to make it a little bit easier on the joints. So that's the yoga mat. Some just tools. And then you can find, the edge of a table is a great thing for doing a workout. I have one dumbbell. That Amazon, Target, the Dick's Sporting Goods, all around here for the last 6 weeks have been sold out of all the dumbbells, unless you want a 2-pound one, but I don't really want that. Anyway, so that's the little chat about how are you staying fit. I'm curious. Leave a comment here, send me a note. I want to know. Let's see. Let me go back to the glasses. Oh, looks like Audrey jumped in. Okay. So John Carl wants a copy of the forks. Okay, and then it looks like Alita Julia Herrero. Okay, let's do that. Welcome. We're just sitting here. It's National Chardonnay Day. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about a lot of different things, mostly about our perspective in these times, is to not to look at what you're missing or what you've lost, but look at what you found and what you can gain in these times. And celebrating Chardonnay, and of course, the most exciting thing for me, I said I'm not going to make it a pitch fest, but there is now a softcover copy available of forks at quite a discount. The next thing I wanted to talk about is as I think about what's going to happen as we open up. We already know. I mean, if you want to get busy in the Twitter sphere and the political sphere, you can see there's some people who really want to open everything up, and then other people just want to keep everything shut down. And we need some sort of balance in between that. But what happens, when one state is being a little more prudent, okay, and locking down certain things. We're having a better job at testing, not manipulating the results either. Because manipulating the results to make it look like whatever you want it to look like is an ill will. It's just it's who you're fooling. You're only fooling yourself. So what happens when one state it remains a little shut down, but somebody who lives in a state that's wide open and tests are going high, and that person wants to travel to the more shut down state. Does the state let that person in? How do we monitor that? I mean, is there perhaps a penalty for that? That's why I pulled out this today. Do you know what this is? This is an international certificate of vaccination. Okay? It's issued by, it's in French and in English. Interesting, not Spanish. This is issued by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in conjunction with, and the part that I really want to focus on is it's a record of all your vaccinations and immunizations. And if you're a traveler, which I know a lot of us are, there are certain places you need vaccinations that they strongly the CDC and the Health and Human Services organizations will strongly recommend. But the one that's most important right here is this one. Okay, this is the International Certificate of Vaccination of for against yellow fever. Yellow fever. Do you know what yellow fever is? So yellow fever is a disease that is kind of I'd call it a blend of something like malaria, typhoid, and dengue fever all mixed up. Okay, and there are certain countries you cannot go to, even from the U.S., if you haven't been vaccinated for yellow fever. So I thought about that today, and those countries are, I went back on to see who's still requiring. Uganda is the one that's kind of maybe the more mainstream, if there is one. The Republican Congo, Ghana, Angola, Burundi, Cameroon, Togo. These are Northern Africa. And if you were thinking of going to Timbuktu, you know where it is? Right? Everybody know where Timbuktu is? It's in the country of Mali, which is in Northwest Africa as well. In that country, and there's others, Liberia, and the list goes on. There's probably 20 countries, out of the 200 or so there, that require you to have a certificate of vaccination before they'll let you into the country, overland or through the airport. So how do we do this here in this country? I mean, are we going to require that to go in to eat somewhere or to cross a border from a state that is coming from a state that's still having hot spots and case growing and more deaths, to require that somebody come in that they have proof of either vaccination? Now, we don't have a vaccination yet, so that's not going to help us. But are we going to look and require somebody to carry down with something that might be a digital version of this? That's something to think about. I think about traveling. I want to get back on the motorcycle and go to Uzbekistan, Tunisia, Algeria, Mongolia, Kazakhstan. Did you know that Elon Musk is going to launch the first private astronauts to be launched out of the United States from is it Florida? I guess it is Cape Canaveral down there. There hasn't been any astronauts, and anyone who has been any of our astronauts that have gone to the space station, the World Space Station up there, have all been launched out of Kazakhstan on Russian rockets. So this is the first rocket. I just saw that in the news. Well, I was thinking of Kazakhstan, so that's where they launch out of in Russia, or the Russian rockets launch out of Kazakhstan. So what are we going to do? Are we going to be able to, and then does that create another divide? Does that create the vaccination divide, the health and human service divide, the haves and the have-nots? You've not been vaccinated or you don't have proof. Are we going to require a card like this to do things? I don't know. But I know that it's not unusual, because if you want to go to Uganda and you don't have the yellow fever vaccination, you could be turned around at the airport. So what are we going to do here? Once there's a vaccination, how does the global community make sure that we contain this virus? Because it is, there's no question, very, oh man, it is, it's a, it's like rabbits. We always say, they multiply like rabbits. Well, this coronavirus is a lot worse than multiplying rabbits. But anyway, enough of that. I'm on celebrating Chardonnay Day. I'm glad Sandy came on. I'm glad all of you have been on, and it's been a great evening. And I'm gonna cook that Malawian. It's called netochi. It's a banana bread. It's very easy. It's a banana bread. You can use it, it's with peanuts. That's what they make it in Malawi. But you can use walnuts, because that's what Audrey did. And then I'm gonna make tonight for my dinner. It's dinner time here. The cats have been fed. And I'm gonna make my famous bolognese and have a little bit of pasta. It's the first time first time since I've been locked down that I'm gonna cook any pasta. I've been really good, low carbs, kinda. But anyway, wish you were here. That was really a bad. Uh-oh. Hey, thanks for going. This has been the third episode of Patio Stories. I should end you with just a real quick story. And since John Karl is on here and we're going to talk travel, this is one of those most crazy things. So John Karl, my brother, who's the chief White House correspondent for ABC News and has a book out right now called Front Row at the Trump Show on Amazon and at your local book retailer online, is a New York Times, 5-6 weeks. Gosh, it's a multi New York Times bestseller. He had been on before he was covering the State Department back in the I don't know, must have been in the 2000s, and he had a trip to go to Sudan. He went out to Darfur to meet some of the warlords, interview them when the conflict was really hot there. It's still hot, in Western Sudan. But, to go in and out of Sudan, you got to go through Khartoum, which is the capital. And that's in the eastern part of Sudan, it's on the Nile River. But I was coming in there, and I had just left Ethiopia, and John had told me that he had been there 2 years before. And with the State Department, I forget. John, were you with the State Department there? Anyway, you can fill that in the comments here. He was there. Was one of the first journalists to ever interview this crazy warlord, and they were, he was surrounded with guns. He'll tell that part of the story. My part of the story is he tells me that when he got there, he realized they didn't use you couldn't exchange U.S. currency, so he had a couple $100 or so. And worried about, leaving it in the hotel room, he locked it into the hotel safe. And like a good Karl, a little bit of absent-mindedness, when he checked out of the hotel and packed everything up, he forgot about the few $100 that was in the hotel safe. Okay? 2 years later, I'm cruising into Khartoum, and it was a U.S. brand. I don't know whether it was a Hilton or a Marriott. It was a international chain, a franchisee of such. So he says, why don't you go there? The name of the guy is blah, blah, blah. And John sends him an email because by the way, to back up, the hotel had acknowledged they found the money, contacted John. John said, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that. And John told him to hold on to it. Next time he's in Sudan, he'll pick it up. Well, 2 years had passed, and here comes Allan on the bike, cruise through Sudan. So I cruise right up to that hotel, get off the bike, walk in there, ask for the guy, and he goes into another room, goes into an office, brings me an envelope and hands me US dollars, a couple $100. So that's so crazy. What is it? So you lose a couple $100 in a hotel room safe. What country would you ever really find that? And then secondly is that in place like Sudan, which is not on everybody's bucket list, it's not on a big hot tourism thing, but who would think that somebody would come back through a couple years later and knock on the door and say, "Hey, can I have the couple $100 back?" And John did this. We did this all over email. So that's my story from Sudan. This has been the second episode of Patio Stories. I'm going to look one more time and see what's going on. Okay, Sandy is Motion Yogi there. She's in, oh, you're doing a London jigsaw puzzle right now in Australia. Nice. UCDE joined. Thanks for tuning in. We're just about to close down, but I'm going to get the replay up. Anyway, that's another segment of next Thursday or when the whim gets me. Until then, stay curious and never stop exploring. Thanks for tuning in.